Okay, hello everybody. Welcome to Korean Atlanta Mentorship. And in this video, I'm going to keep it, I guess, 100% real with you all and go over something that may be a little bit uncomfortable for you to talk about. So, one of the reasons why, a long time ago, which wasn't really that long ago, or maybe it was, I don't really want to think about it, where I was kind of like living in the poverty level, like 20 grand a year, and I moved from California to Georgia, and I was very frustrated, right? And one of the reasons I was very frustrated is because throughout the series of my adult life, I trusted people on very simple things that I shouldn't have. So, for example, if somebody just tells you, "Hey, let's hang out," and I'd be like, "Yeah, sure, let's do it," and then I give them a call, and they act like I'm some sort of weird person for like taking them up on their offer. Has that ever happened to you? That's happened to me plenty of times, and I was just always be confused. And the reason is that a lot of people out there are playing game on you. Like they're trying to one up you. They're trying to make sure that they're better than you. Their ego essentially depends on it, and they're always, even if you're not in competition with them, they, for whatever some reason, think they're in a competition with you, and so they don't see a world where cooperation can lead to a better outcome, right? And this is something that you have to expect. And on the other hand, here's the thing: even though I know most people are weird and shady and they don't keep their promises or their word, I need to create a better society that is not the one that we live in right now, right? That's kind of like my mindset. So I'm gonna do what most people are not willing to do. And you know what? Here's the funny thing: the bar is so low, right? It's so low that if you just do basic, simple things like show up on time, keep your word, you're gonna be worth $1 million. Because most people can't do that. In fact, one of the things I always wonder every time I step outside my house, I read statistics on like, oh, most people are paycheck to paycheck, yet they seem so happy and carefree. Ever notice that? Like when I was broke, I was like stressed out, and then I'd be like, "What are you guys doing for money?" Or "How can I make more money?" And typing in rampantly on YouTube. And one of the things I found out was yes, most people are broke, but they're essentially faking it, and they're going to do the same to you, right? So if you notice that, like, you can't get a straight answer out of most people and how they're doing, and if you ask them a question like, "What's the most meaningful thing you did like the past 5 to 10 years?" They kind of become uncomfortable because they know they just kind of like pissed away their lives because they didn't really live it, right? But they want the illusion or facade that their life was absolutely fantastic. It's kind of like how there's an Instagram reality where everything looks good on Instagram, but everything in the real life actually sucks. Okay. I've seen this many times where people like confess to me where they try to like make it seem like their life was better than mine, but in reality, their life sucked. And here's the harsh truth about most people: because they think that they're in a competition with you. And I actually blame the school system for this because, again, school is a forced competition with your peers for the most developmental years of your life. And so basically, by the time you're done with that, the people that you grew up with, you're indoctrinated to think it's a competition, and because of that, you think that you're not there to actually help and serve your community, right? This is why if you grew up in a neighborhood for 20, 30 years, or for the majority of your life, by the time you're maybe like 25 or 26, nobody that you grew up with will really talk to you. And here's, again, the harsh truth is that most people would rather steal $1 from you than make $1 million with you. This is why, and here's the thing: I must have missed out on this brainwashing session where like I was supposed to believe that my peers were my competitors, or maybe I was just very naive, or maybe like I'm just I have mental challenges where I probably didn't pay attention at school at all. So I probably skipped the social conditioning part of school as well. But the funny thing is that I remember like being really excited about going from high school to an adult because I was like, man, high school takes up so much of my time, and when I go to college, I'm going to have all this free time. And, I want to have all these ideas in my mind that I want to share with people and we can go ahead and execute. And the thing that happened from high school and transitioning to adulthood is I got a lot of people who were just very insincere, and they said that they were going to do stuff and never do it, and then acted like I'm crazy for wanting them to keep their word, right? And because I was just not used to that type of behavior, And I don't know if it was just because society was changing at that time and I just didn't notice. Um, I think I was just very like taken back and struck because I actually expected people to keep their word with like especially with the little simple things, right? And here's the thing. I'm gonna give you a kind of a quick pro tip of how to not get ripped off, right? So getting ripped off essentially is, in my opinion, inevitable. Okay, like you know, if you encounter a random stranger and that random stranger, like me, gives you an offer, you're essentially, you know, if you're working for me the first time, you're taking a bet, right? You're betting that I'm going to do my job, you know, whatever I charge you. And kind of like, you know, you hiring a contractor, a lot of people fear, oh, what if a contractor works on a house and then he just takes your money and then never comes back, right? That's a very valid fear. But in my mind, this is just kind of how my mind works. If somebody can't do like a $10 job, like a really simple $10 job, what makes you think that they're going to do a good job at a $40,000 or $100,000 level, right? And this is why that when you work with people, work with them in simple tasks. And if they can't do the simple task, don't give them more money, right? You have to be stupid to give them more money. But that's what happens with a lot of people. And in fact, in a lot of Zoom calls, not a lot of them, in a few Zoom calls that I've had with people, you know, they say, "Oh, I got ripped off by this instructor who was going to do a trucking business with me and took $40,000 and ran." Right? Happens all the time. There's a lot of people out there who are untrustworthy because they believe that in order for them to succeed, you have to lose. Right? And that's kind of the general mentality of the population. And as I said before, you know, even though I know this, I'm going to be a model for honesty and integrity and trust, you know, kind of like speaking like how politicians do when they go around making speeches for the people around me. Because people around me know that I'm reliable and thus people will give me more money, right? Whether it's a tenant, whether it's people, you know, looking to sell their real estate deal to me or whatever. The thing is that you have to, you know, kind of set your expectations with most people and realize that I don't know if this is the right percentage. I'm just doing it at the top of my head. That 90% of people are are not to be worked with because the harsh truth, again, repeating it one more time, is that most people would steal a dollar from you than make $1 million with you. And then when I realized that, I realized, wow, this is why I have to think highly of myself, right? And you know, it's kind of crazy about when you think about like royalty and status, that royalty and status has nothing to do with like ability and talent. It's like if you just think you're royalty, you're magically royalty, and everybody thinks the same thing too, right? And so one of the things that I always like kind of, and maybe this was a coping mechanism, was thinking was like, well, you know, if people are going to keep scamming me and wasting my time and not doing the things that they promised, well, now I gotta kind of have to kind of upgrade my mindset, which is that I'm now a king. And if you waste my time, you're out of my castle and you never come back, right? And so again, there's a lot of mind shift sets that you have to have in order for you to not be taken advantage of, right? It doesn't mean in every single situation you have to be the alpha male or female, but you do have to think highly of yourself. And one of the things that you also have to have is a castle in your mindset, right? So think about kings and queens. So one of the things that royalty in history have found out is that when you have wealth or riches or even something special, people will attack you, right? Like, you know, the reason why you had the castle is because random strangers would go ahead and try to steal your stuff out of nowhere, like people you'd even know, people from different countries. That's why you had the castle. This is the same type of mental castle that you have to have in order to go out and succeed in life, because most people, when they see that you have something special, whether it's a good idea or a good attitude or some maybe you um, espouse excellence, people will are going to attack you because again, in that mindset that people are conditioned, they feel like they have to be better than you. So instead of getting up to your level, they're going to go ahead and attack you. And again, say it one more time, most people would rather steal a dollar from you than make $1 million with you, right? People who want to make $1 million with you are the exception and not the rule, right? And I think that one of the reasons why I thought this was the norm is because back when I used to play video games, I implicitly understood that the only way that I could get better at video games, and I'm talking about like arcade games from the 90s, is that I need competition who makes me better. And if I don't have the competition, then my skill level is going to be stale. So I need other people to be better than me to lift my skill level up. But most people, they kind of think the opposite, where it's like I got to cut people down in order for me to look taller, right? But hopefully that's not you, okay? So, all right. Well, hopefully you haven't had that experience, and maybe I'm just a bitter, jaded. Well, I don't want to say bitter. I'm just jaded and don't think too highly of people. And maybe, but again, that's just how I think, just because of my life experiences. And a lot of people, when they see me, they actually think I'm a lot younger than I am. It's kind of weird how that works. And so they think they're gonna that I don't have the life experience that I do sometimes when they see me. But yeah, that's just kind of the harsh truth of today, that you kind of have to know and understand when you're kind of stepping outside to the world and presenting yourself and who you are and your offer. I mean, even think about this channel. This channel is relatively small, and we got attackers at the bay writing comments. This is the worst thing ever. And I'm like, all right, cool, man. But again, have that mental castle in your mind. All right. Well, this is Korean Atlanta Mentorship. So if you're interested in joining a group, learning about a few things like velocity banking, financial literacy, real estate investing, go ahead and click the Google form link below. Other than that, have a great day, everybody.